Hi guys, my name is Anna, and today I'm going to be reviewing Mockingjay Part 1, the movie. And I know I'm a little bit late to this party. Everyone else has seen the movie way ahead of me and has already filmed and done all their reviews, but I thought, why not? I did see the movie, I did cry and laugh a lot, so I want to go ahead and give you guys this review, even though it is a little bit late. I know I'm also a bit late on my Supernatural reviews, I'm sorry about that. Between the holidays and being sick, the camera has kind of been collecting dust, but I will be getting back on the Supernatural reviews along after this one. So for a real quick non-spoiling review of The Mockingjay Part 1, I thought it was a really fantastic movie. It's admittedly been a really long time since I've read the books. I found myself needing to reread it because I found myself not really remembering who the character was, but I do remember the Mockingjay book being my least favorite. Mainly just because I felt like it wasn't paced very well. It needed to be lengthened slightly to sufficiently in the story. Because The Mockingjay is when the real true plot of the Hunger Games series kicks in. For the first two books in the Hunger Games and Catching Fire, are more about Katniss's personal life and the effects of the games on, and kind of world building of this futuristic society that we have with the capital ruled entirely over these different districts that don't have enough, and the capital that has an excess of everything. So, and I know there's a lot of comparisons, where the first two are just like, this Battle Royale movie or whatever, and I will have to say this, the Battle Royale is not the first to use this theme either. This theme of the children or people, groups of people battling to the death for other people's entertainment. I mean, the Romans did it. Technically, if they're ripping off of anyone, they're ripping off history. So technically, the whole battle to the death in an arena theme is not something that just Battle Royale owns, or even just the Hunger Games owns. Yes, they brought it more into popularity in the media world, not in the real world, because hopefully that will never be brought to popularity again. So I don't really see any comparison. I think lots of different movies and TV shows can use different elements. That's like saying anything that has a dragon in it is ripping off Aragon or The Lord of the Rings, or anything that has wizards in it is ripping off Harry Potter. There's different elements, and pretty much all literature and media nowadays has used almost every element there is. And nowadays, in the era that we are now, since there is so much, it's more about how do we uniquely craft these different elements together to make something new. There isn't really a new idea anymore. There isn't. We have already almost touched upon everything. So that's pretty much my only comment on the Hunger Games Battle Royale, clashing that some people are still on about, which I was like, so long ago, people, do we really still give a shit about this? But the third book in the Hunger Games series, The Mockingjay, really gets into the depths of the plot line, and the plot line of the rebellion of the districts against the capital, and Katniss as the symbol of the rebellion, the one who's striking up the Mockingjay. And then the first half of the movie Mockingjay is mainly about the propaganda of getting the rebellion started. You're just starting the rebellion, the districts are just starting to come together. It's about Katniss coming to acceptance of her role and becoming that leader that we know her as from the book series. And so this film shows that journey beautifully. They have some surprising touches of humor. All the actors do a fantastic job playing this part. I personally found the movie very enjoyable. It not quite as much happened, perhaps, as I had hoped it would, but the scenes and the emotional conflict that you feel that's evicted from this movie is just really an amazing ride. My heart was pounding a lot. I was like on the edge of my seat because there's so many fantastic scenes. And it adapts the book from what I remember, because I seriously need to reread this series before the final movie comes out, the Mockingjay Part 2. But it's really amazing. For anybody who's wary about watching the movies because they're not adapt the books faithfully or anything, I personally feel that this is a adaptation from a book to movie done right. I feel like this is done really well, unlike some of the other adaptations out there. Cough. Percy Jackson back there, cough. That is the end of the non-spoily section for this review. So welcome to the spoily part of my review of Mockingjay Part 1. So this, I can't even begin. There are so many of my fantastic scenes. I think I actually liked the movie a bit better than the first half of the Mockingjay book, because you get a little bit more of a view of how it's affecting the actual districts, because you get a little bit more farther away from Katniss's point of view, whereas in the book you're solely in Katniss's point of view. So anything that's happening outside of Katniss you don't get as much of an overview for. But this one you see some scenes of just Snow, President Snow. You see some of the scenes with President Coin of the rebellion, kind of manipulating Katniss. They send her to see what happened when the Capitol bombed District 12, but she doesn't see this to try and help Katniss. She sends it because she wants to mold Katniss into this Mockingjay that she wants and needs to fuel the rebellion. And so you show Katniss going through and trying to become the Mockingjay, and then filming the different proposes, they call them, the propaganda videos, to try and get popularity for them, to kind of be as a counterbalance to PETA, who the Capitol is using to try and you know, put a backlash on the rebellion that the districts are having. And so, you know, you see Katniss, and she tries with her humor to kind of just do it behind a green screen. And then Haymitch finally comes in. He's like, you know, this is total bullshit the way you're running this. She isn't someone who you can just give a screen and act. You know, when are the times that you have seen Katniss where you've actually felt anything for her? And people say, you know, how she was so kind to Rue when she took her in, when she's the first time when she volunteered for her sister. You know, all these different times when she's truly, it's been her. So they decide to send her to a district where there's a hospital where there's all these wounded, and Katniss comes in and she helps, you know, they do the symbol, and it's just this amazing moment. But then the Capitol, President Snow, in retaliation for for these people being near Katniss, he bombs them, and Katniss uses her crazy cool upgraded weapons that she's gotten from District 13 alongside Gale, and she manages to shoot some of the Helicraft weapons down, and then they turn the video on her, and you know, she has her line where she's like, if we burn, you burn with us, and it incites the rebellion. And then you see in a district where the workers bomb the guards from the Capitol, and you know, shout out her phrase, you know, if we burn, you burn with us, and this just incites this fire, and it makes this rebellion grow. And it's amazing how this is all because of Katniss. And we get the Hanging Tree song. And oh my god, that was so beautiful. I've bought it. Jennifer Lawrence, surprisingly enough, can sing. I was surprised. It's a genuinely good song. And within the context of the movie, how it goes from her singing it after she's been so upset to it kind of overlays, and then the entire troop of the rebels are doing it, and then they break down the dam that takes away the Capitol's power, which allows them to be able to sneak in and save Peeta and the other victors. And I'm so happy that we get to see Annie and Finnick reunited. I wish there would have been a little bit more time with Finnick to explain the horrors that the victors, you know, the victors were condemned just as much as the people. They weren't all of a sudden free and they're these happy victors. They went through shit too in the Capitol. Their lives were terrible too, because Finnick was prostituted out, you know, and if he didn't, they would threaten his loved ones. You know, and that's probably the life that Katniss would have ended up leading if the rebellion hadn't started with her. And they use their loved ones against them. And it shows the irony in that Katniss, all this probably would have been started if President Snow simply had stopped threatening Katniss's loved ones. If he had just said, well, okay, fine, if you do this, then I won't hurt your loved ones, then there would have been no rebellion. There would have been no Mockingjay. None of this would have happened if President Snow hadn't been so angry that someone dared to defy him, and if he had just calmed Katniss down by saying, well, okay, I'm not going to hurt your loved ones, because that's all Katniss really cared about. She wanted to keep the people she loved safe, and President Snow being arrogant the way he was is the reason why everyone's in this mess. But the scene brought tears to my eyes with them going down with the Hanging Tree song, and it's just a beautiful, haunting melody that was edited so well. And another moment that I really felt like on the edge of my seat for was the bombing scene when the Capitol was bombing District 13, and you know, you've got it, and then you have Prim trying to save the cat, you know, how she's like, I couldn't live with myself, and then running through is, you know, they're having the epic countdown and they're trying to help her get down there, and you're seeing the whole entire thing is shaking, and there's this thundering booming, and I think, well, you know, can it hold up, or are we going to die? And even if you've read the book and you know this is not when they die, even though I knew that, my heart, I mean, I felt anxiety. My heart was pumping as if bombs were being dropped down on me, and you see the cracks in the ceiling where the foundation is crumbling, and it's an amazing heart-wrenching scene. And then the fire, and then the sprinklers go off because of the fire, and then you're getting drenched, and you're running around for Prim and Katniss, and then Gale finds her, and thank God, you know, everyone's safe, and even the kitty's safe, because, you know, the kitty has to make it to the end, which is like the end scene with the cat in the end final part of the Mockingjay book was the scene that I really, really cried. It wasn't even during the deaths of the characters. It was when Katniss had that moment with the cat. She's like, she's never coming back, and after all this, that was the scene that, so I was really wondering, are they going to enter that heartbreaking scene into these movies, or are they going to leave out the cat? So I was really happy that, you know, Katniss found the kitty and she brought Buttercup back, and then they had that bonding moment, because it makes you learn more of how Prim is this amazing person too, that she cared so much for this creature that she was willing to, which, I mean, I'm personally, I love cats so much, and I wouldn't leave any of my pets or babies or anything, you know, I'd be grabbing up the lizards and the fish and the cats and my family and everything too. I wouldn't be able to live myself if I lived with them behind. So that showed some growth on Prim's part, how, you know, she was truly a little sister worth sacrificing yourself for and starting all this for. Because, I mean, it's not like she was this little annoying brat or anything who poked, you know, lizards with a stick or something. She's this amazing angel, and it's showing how you know, children almost cannot live in this world. And I think a lot of the rebels who are fighting, because they know they're going to die, because they're so outnumbered and they don't have enough weapons or anything, but they're fighting not necessarily for themselves to survive, but for the future generations to survive in a better world. And I think that message really hooks in a lot of people, and that's why so many people have related and why the Hunger Games has managed to become so popular. But the movie really was an edge on your seat thrill of a ride, even though not quite as much plot-wise happened as much, except for the, you know, the introduction of the rebellion is truly happening now, and you get that kickstart, and it ends with they have rescued Peeta, but he has been brainwashed from being tortured and them using the tracker jacker venom on him, so he is being chained up, and it ends with Katniss looking at him in the in his room or whatever that he's in. And when it ended, I was like, no, it can't be over. So I'm really looking forward to the next movie, even though I'm rather terrified for the next movie, because I know this is going to just be an utter sob fest where I'm just going to be crying my head off at everything, and I'm going to be like clinging to like whoever unfortunate person ends up sitting next to me and being like, but they died, dead, which, you know if you've read the books. And another thing that I feel like that has brought a lot of popularity to the Hunger Games as a series is the fact that Katniss, for most girls and women, I think, has become the female superhero. You know, she's become this person that the story hinges on this female character to, you know, save everyone. You know, she's the Mockingjay, the symbol of this rebellion. She is the cause of everything. And I feel like, and she's also she's the strong woman or whatever, but she's also relatable. She isn't, you know, Wonder Woman perfect, where she has this overly attractive body, whatever. You know, she isn't overly sexualized. Like, we do have some female superheroes. You know, you have Wonder Woman and some of the others, but they're very sexualized. You know, they aren't true superheroes. You know, the only one that I can think of that isn't like that is perhaps Buffy, you know, who's a live action character who is more of a superhero for girls, you know, because all the other characters, even some of the ones in Game of Thrones and things like that, they're highly sexualized. And I think Katniss is one for young girls to really have something to relate to, and that doesn't even remotely in any way dumb down the story or make it any less good, but I think it gives this niche for something that girls were wanting, you know, that females and, you know, guys, this is a story that guys can love too. You know, it isn't, which, not that guys can't like overly romantic things, but there's not this humongous, there's a tiniest, like 3 minutes of screen time is devoted to a love triangle, okay? Like, there isn't this humongous love triangle. It's not all about this romance. It's about war and about the effect of a society that has gone wrong, essentially, and about how much humanity sucks is a lot of it, but how if you stand together to fight for, you know, the betterment of all, you know, how this can hopefully triumph, you know. And it's this message that's relatable, not only in that message, but the fact that the leader of this, the cause of this, is a woman, you know, because it's always a guy, you know, and not that there's anything wrong with guys too, you know, because there's tons of women and everything, but, you know, there's the one lone girl in the Avengers, and the one lone girl in the Avengers has the skin-tight outfit and everything, you know, and her big badass scene or whatever is where she's being tortured or whatever for information, but she's actually getting information from them, and then she beats them up, but she's wearing a little slinky whatever. So, and not that there's anything wrong with characters that are more sexual in that way, but it's nice to have something that's not that way. And Katniss is a character that is not there for her sexuality or for her looks. Not that Jennifer Lawrence isn't really attractive, but that Katniss is there to be Katniss and to be what she is capable of doing as herself. And I think that is something that girls have wanted for a really long time, that we're finally getting from the Hunger Games, that I think is a lot of the reason why it has been so popular, besides it just being a fantastic story with a whole bunch of other amazing elements, as I've already previously touched upon. That the plot line, personally, even if it is related to some other things, is done really well, and it really has that message of, you know, rebellion. Even, are we heading along this path? Are we going along this path? It's almost this foreboding warning almost of what we as humanity are doing wrong, you know, and what we can hopefully strive to fix. Anyway, I think I have touched upon all the points I wanted to for this pretty fantastic movie. I think I give it an 8 out of 10 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't wait for the next one, even though I know I'm going to be sobbing. So I'll be back shortly with some more videos, hopefully catching up on all my Supernatural reviews and maybe even a few of the books that I've read recently. So bye for now, guys!